Top Hill Recording Podcast, episode 172. Tonight's guest, Lylak.
Oh, yeah. Very nice. Beautiful.
My God, dude, that is crazy.
Lylak.
Holy
Welcome to Top Hill Recording.
crap.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
Cheers to that. That
Cheers.
was,
Cheers.
you know, I was just sitting here thinking, how lucky are we to get to sit on this side of these things, man? It's just crazy. That was so good. That was so...
Our own private concerts every week.
Yeah, man, what a vibe. What a cool... that just song puts you in a feel, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's
Holy
most
crap.
of our shows these days is playing in bedrooms. So
I can see why. Hey, come over and play a song for my lady, would you? I'm a man.
there's a lot of money in it, believe it or not.
Yeah, man. Man, that's
Tell us about that
beautiful.
song.
That was a song that I wrote probably back in 2016, sort of right as Lylak was getting its start, right as Elizabeth was joining the band. I have an uncle named Gabriel, and so it's kind of a mix between, he lives a nomadic lifestyle, and I was sort of thinking about him and what it means to live nomadically, and tied it into the angel Gabriel. So
nice.
Cool. Yeah.
Well, man, you have a very, very beautiful voice, and Elizabeth, your all's voices just mix and intertwine. So they're so warm together. They just interlace and weave in back and forth. It's just beautiful. And
Thank
nothing
you.
like a beautiful harmony. My God, you know.
Absolutely.
You made me drop my pen.
Shucks.
I think so. Yeah, that's when we've been playing since I joined the band and found a violin part for it, and it's really evolved. I mean, thankfully, it has evolved for the 7 years that we've been playing it. So that's why we wanted to start with it today.
Yeah, it's beautifully tight and interlaced. I mean, it's
Take us back to the beginning of Lylak. Where did it all start?
Well, it's
Gideon and I had mutual friends for many, many years, and then finally met.
at a Halloween party, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
It's actually so our bass player is married to Elizabeth. His name's Paul. And I was starting this recording project, which turned into Lylak. And he mentioned playing bass. And I was like, can you come and play bass? And so the first EP started as just like bass and guitar. And then we had to retrack all the drums because I was recording it myself and had no idea what I was doing, and recorded everything before the drums, everything before.
no click track.
No, yeah, it was to a click track, but it was like not the way that you build a recording project. So that's kind of how it started, and it started off as a 3-piece. I say boy band, not like a NSYNC or something, but 3 dudes in a band. And then Elizabeth joined in 2017.
Yeah.
And we're sure glad that she did, because it's most definitely changed our sound for the better. And we've,
I had been looking for people to play with for, I won't say my whole life, but like I had been looking for a band that would work for a long time. And I had sat in with them a couple of times, a couple of shows in 2017. And then there was one summer where we jammed and Paul wasn't there for some reason. And I was like, oh, okay. Like we just jammed and we just were improvising and we were all, following together. And that's really what I had been looking for in other musicians that wanted to play out. And so I kind of like sat them all down at one point, including my husband, which is sort of funny, but I sat them all down and I was like, okay, can I encroach on boy hangout time and join this band? And
Paul was like, yes, absolutely, babe.
There was, they appreciated that I asked, I think, and didn't just kind of box my way in.
Yeah, go. I'm a member because I'm married to
Right.
the bass player.
By marriage.
Yeah,
You want a
One could
bass
say
player?
you may have Yoko'd your way.
you are
in.
no Yoko.
I am
Shots fired. Shots fired.
say a lot of things about Yoko. Yoko's cool. She's a gal.
So Elizabeth, I guess I'm assuming you started violin as a child?
I did. Goldsmith Elementary.
Hey,
Shout out.
Goldsmith in Louisville.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. I know exactly. We know where that is.
What grade?
Awesome.
What age?
I was 2009.
Is it one of those, what is it, Kawasaki programs? What is it?
Suzuki.
Suzuki?
You picked the wrong motorcycle.
It was Suzuki usually starts younger, but when I was younger, I did kinder music, and then I did like recorder and piano lessons, and then I wanted to play violin when I was 4, but my mom wasn't quite ready to like commit to that for me. So when they started offering it in school is when I started playing, but I could like read music at that point. Since I had learned when I was younger.
What
So it
interested
was
you
like-
at that age?
What'd you say?
What made you want to be a violin player at 4?
Oh my gosh. Okay. It's
Because you hadn't
weird.
seen it at school yet. At that
I
point.
hadn't. And I don't really, so like I grew up my grandma would tell us stories from memory from the Laura Ingalls Wilder books. And Pa plays fiddle. And then at some point in my childhood, we went to the Little House on the Prairie in Missouri, and we got this like book on tape that was like a music book on tape. So the 90s books on tape. It's just the best.
I remember.
And there was like some tracks where it was just like Pa playing fiddle. And I really loved it. And I loved, like, I think Itzhak Perlman had been on Sesame Street or Mr. Rogers or something. And I was like, just like very
That's
tractor beam.
Phenomenally.
phenomenally absurd. Little House on the Prairie hooks you to the fiddle.
Yeah.
I'm just now learning about
That might
this.
be
Yeah.
a, that might be a one of one story.
It's possible.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's possible, but whatever
Very
it
cool.
was, I loved it.
You know, Gideon, that happens every time we have a band in here. They learn something about their bandmates every time.
How funny is that?
That's wild. I mean, how often do you talk about stuff like that, though? Like,
Yeah,
tell
not
me
very
about
often.
kindergarten or fourth grade or when you were 9.
Yeah. We always talk about the randomest stuff, like when we're in the van together or something. So
How about you, Gideon? When did you start playing?
man, my dad got me an acoustic guitar when I was probably 8, and it was what he like hid it in the closet and left me a note, and I went and found it. And he was a worship pastor when I was a kid, and so I grew up kind of hearing him play, and had a little ukulele when I was a kid because I, always wanted to play guitar, and picked it up, and just fell in love with it immediately. The E chord was probably my first chord.
Good chord.
Still my favorite chord. So that's kind of when I picked it up. Not too many years after that, I remember like playing a chord and moving the same chord up the neck, kind of discovering that on my own was like mind blowing. I was like, what? You can play the same thing up the neck? And as a kid, that sort of imaginative stuff can lead you a lot of places. And I was just sort of hooked at that point. So, yeah.
Jesse, where'd you come into the picture?
I've only been part of the band, a year and a half?
Yeah.
Something like that. So,
Newbie.
yeah, I'm from West Tennessee and ended up in Kentucky with some work stuff, and had played with a band for like 12 years or something, toured around quite a bit, kind of took a break from music. Just, it's hard to disappear from your family for a couple of weeks or more at a time at some point. And met Elizabeth, and she's like, hey, you want to come jam with us? And I was like, sure. And just started playing together,
Yeah, it clicked really fast with Jesse.
Yeah.
I think your first gig with us may have been a wedding.
It was a wedding,
Oof.
oddly enough.
And we had like how many songs?
It was 3 hours of music.
Yeah.
And it was very cold.
Yeah, a wedding in the springtime, and it snowed or something. But
It was one of those barns, but it was normally open to the air, but they'd put up those like white plastic canvas with the plastic window things to try to help, and it was
It's still
concrete
not
floor.
working.
Like,
Somehow colder in the barn than outside.
yeah.
It really was.
They
It
built a
really was.
refrigerator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They built the refrigerator.
that was you had a lot to learn for your first.
I
show
remember
with us.
sending you the email, and it was like,
Yeah.
so many songs.
Have you always been a drummer?
Yes, I am. I tell people I'm a drummer, not a musician, because all I play is drums. I don't play any kind of melodic or chorded instrument. I mean, I can play a handful of chords on the guitar, but yeah, I think I started in school band. We started pretty early in my town, like at 5th grade, and I had a friend come over, and he found out my dad, which I didn't know what it was at the time. Later, as I got older, realized how cool the stuff was, and he didn't know what it was. But Dad had one of the like point-to-point Rivera like Super Champ amps and like a Fender Lead 2 guitar, and compared to what my friends had, which is like I think they had one of the Woolworth like branded guitars, like they basically let me in the band so they could use my dad's gear. And one of the other guys who was a singer who basically just screamed into a microphone, also through a guitar amp, played drums in school band. So I started with like 2 really terrible like CB 700 snare drums, and I saved up my lunch money for over a month, and I ordered a hi-hat stand that came with cymbals out of the JCPenney catalog, that like the pedal would bend like halfway through a song and I have to reach down, like bend it, and the cymbals will like dent pretty much every time you hit them. And that's kind of how we started like our musical career, like literally in a garage as a garage band with like just whatever we could find to like bang around on. And I never wanted to do anything else since. Like all I wanted to do was like play drums.
I remember as a kid learning about the hoard your lunch money game. I didn't know about it, dude. I was old before I learned that you could just keep your lunch money and not eat. I was a hungry kid anyway. I ate all the time. I still do. But I just, but I didn't realize it. But one of my friends,
I never
Brad,
considered it either.
would always have money, dude. He always had cash. And I don't know how much he got. He got absurd amounts of money. I said absurd twice. I haven't said absurd in 171 episodes. I've said it twice this episode.
Monthly limit.
My bad. Yeah, word of the day. If I say it again, everybody scream. No, but he would always have cash, like $50, and we were kids. And I was like, dude, why do you have all this money? And I learned, and I still couldn't hold myself from eating lunch. I still had to eat. All right, sorry. I
never thought to save my lunch money either.
No, I don't know. I mean, I'd have just bought food somewhere else.
Yeah.
My uncle was a drummer too. He played saxophone and he played drums, and I just have a lot of fond memory. There was a point where they were playing an outside show on a flatbed trailer, and it was so windy the cymbals kept blowing over, so they stuck all us little kids in the family on the feet of the cymbal stands, and we were like, our job was to hold the cymbals down to keep them from blowing
That's
over.
hilarious.
Oh my gosh, that's such a cute story.
That's when you started losing your hearing.
Yeah. So
That is wild.
How about another song?
All right.
What do you have for us? Tell us about this beforehand.
Yeah, so this next one we're going to do is called What We Have, and it's a love song that I wrote in a difficult part of my marriage. And it's sort of about, in the frustrations of a relationship, at the end of it, still being thankful for what you do have with that person.
It's time to throw the towel in. When you shout like that, the walls fall down. I can hear you from the other room, and I don't we shout so loud that the walls fall down.
My goodness. Beautiful.
Absolutely unbelievable, man. Absolutely unbelievable. Whoo! So, man, word-wise, how the honesty is insane, but the choices in that song are crazy good. Like the all of it, but the chord selection in the chorus is so good, and the melody lines, and it's so good.
Thanks,
Just so
man.
good.
I think Neil liked it.
Yeah, I think, like, it's so interesting the entire time because you're trying to keep up. If you listen to a song like I do, which I think a lot of people do, you're trying to keep up with everything going on at the same time, and there's so much going on there between the words.
Gideon pulling the slide out of his pocket.
Pulling the slide.
I love the slides. Awesome.
But the chord choices are crazy good.
Elizabeth just changed instruments on us.
It's just so
She
good,
tends
you
to do
guys.
that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
Jesse
do
wanted
that.
to sing badly on this one.
He does.
He does.
Please feel free
Give
to
him a
sing.
microphone, yeah.
But again, my frog voice I've got going on, it's gonna work out.
Jesse sings my parts.
Okay.
Don't.
Jesse's
He
a great
might not be
singer.
able to today, and that's fine. But no pressure at
Yeah,
all.
I'm a WBGV, like way background vocalist.
Okay.
Way back, yeah.
We're working with him on it to put
But
a
yeah.
mic.
I usually double her parts because I'm not a very good singer, but I can find certain spots that work. And I like I played a lot of country music, and like my favorite thing is hearing like that high tenor part, like
That
just
Ricky Skaggs harmony.
screaming
Yeah.
over the top of everything. I can't even come close to that, but in my head, I sound great.
He does sound good.
Yeah, it's like if you all didn't have each other, you would sound great. But the fact that just the way everything meshes in that's time. That doesn't happen by accident. I'm sure the first time you all played together, it sounded really good. Because you know what I mean. I mean, if you have the ability, and then you find somebody that when you play with it just meshes, you sound there's something about it that just clicks and sounds good. But the practice and the smoothness of everything, it's just so well done. But yeah, I like it.
Thanks, man.
Sorry, I can't. I just went back. I keep going backwards.
I had never sang with somebody before, or led a song until I started this band. And then when I started singing with Elizabeth, my first thought was like, oh, she's like way better than me. And also, it's like so cool to harmonize with somebody. Like it was something new to me, and the past several years we've kind of worked on that a lot, and yeah, it's fun. Like singing with you, bud.
Yeah, I like singing with you too.
You all sound great.
Yeah.
So Gideon, you wrote those first two songs we've heard. Is that right?
Yeah.
Are you the primary writer in the band, or how's
We're-
writing look?
We record here soon a lot of our new stuff, and we're turning into more co-leading and co-writing. Early on, I did most of the writing, but on several songs, like the song isn't really that done until we get into the practice space, and then it sort of evolves into something. And Elizabeth, I think that last song that we wrote was the first bit of lyric writing you did for Lylak, because you changed. I remember I didn't have the second verse, and it was right before a show that we were going to play it, and it was because I'm feeling down, and I didn't know what to say after that. And you were like, feeling down, and I don't feel right. And you and I wrote that together.
Oh yeah, I forgot
on the
about
front
that.
porch of the Whitemans.
Oh,
and
thanks for remembering that. I forgot about that.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of evolved into more equal writing.
Yeah,
But
equal
at
rights.
first I did a lot.
We might
That's a good band name. Equal Rights.
Equal rights.
Spelled with a W,
WRIT.
There you go.
Yes, yeah. I am a really, really slow songwriter, and Gideon is not. Gideon can crank them out much faster than me.
So do you mean like you don't write a bunch, or do you mean like you start one and it'll take you forever to finish it?
Yeah. I will start little bits and pieces throughout the year, and I finish. I think my best year has been like I've written maybe 3 songs in a year. Like,
Do you have to intentionally finish them?
yeah. I kind of move on pretty quick
Mm-hmm.
when I have ideas, and then I'll come back to them and finish them up or bring them to the band. I think like Samba, which is on our last record, that one I wrote the verses and was like, okay, and I brought it to the band, and then we still took a couple months to finish writing that one as a group.
Has Gideon ever brought something to the band that you've pulled one of those pieces that you have just like written on the run, went like, oh, here's an idea, and then he brought something and went, oh, hey, check this out, I got something for it that, pre-made.
Like riffing off each other, or like
just kind of
hearing
riffing
something and then turning it into a totally new
saying
song.
like you bring something and she goes, I recorded this on my phone 2 months ago and it freaking meshes with that perfect. Have you ever done anything like that?
Maybe
really good question.
Some violin licks.
Yeah.
Not totally, but just like I have been playing around and like, I want to figure out how to do this on a song. Like with Interstate Loops, I think. I should talk about the next song we're going to play.
Cool, yeah.
Okay, so like the next song we're going to play called Guardrails, I think that I wanted to do more fiddly stuff, more like double stops. I wanted to do a song that had more of a fiddle lead line. And so I wrote this one, but then I guess Leaves was another one that you brought, and I was like, I want to do more fiddle parts, and that one really lent itself to.
Yeah, it's
doing
interesting
fiddle
how
parts.
when I write music, I tend to start with the guitar and figure out some sort of guitar part, and then think of melodies on top of that. And it's just interesting how, it sounds basic, but certain guitar parts lend themselves to certain violin parts, and it just sort of clicks in. And Leaves off our last record, it's the first song on the record. It's kind of like that, and the melody kind of just sat right in.
Mm-hmm.
Do you play more than one instrument, or you just guitar mostly?
I wish I did. I tried to play. I want to learn how to play bass better, but starting off on guitar, every time I played bass, I play like a guitar player.
Like this, yeah. It's
which,
easy to do.
I feel like learning how to play guitar is like starting with the most useful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like the reason I started playing guitar was because it's hard to like write full chord. You can't write full chord songs on a violin, and I like can play piano some, but so I can write on piano, but you can't take piano to a party.
Yeah.
So
I was actually going to.
Yeah.
I was actually going to ask you if playing multiple instruments makes you write different.
Yeah. So I actually wrote the bulk of the next song we're going to play on piano.
Okay.
And then
I wasn't expecting piano for this one.
I wrote it on piano, figured out how to play it on guitar, then brought it to the band and did the violin part, and promptly forgot. I don't know what the chords are anymore. I can't play it on guitar anymore.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's
I
awesome.
hadn't really thought about that.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
But like, so guitar for me is really, it's just like the functional aspect, and piano too. Like it's a functional thing for me. So what we have was actually the first song that I ever recorded acoustic guitar for.
Does it still sound like it did when you wrote it on piano now when you play it?
The bridge does.
Wow, I didn't really think about how much change it's gone through.
I don't think I ever heard you play it on piano, because we started it and I think you pretty well had the violin part going, like kind of the beginnings of it anyway.
Mm-hmm. I think I wrote the violin part from like a voice memo of the piano or the guitar. I don't remember.
That's wild.
Before we hear Guardrails, though, we have
Weston's question.
We didn't even practice that, man.
That's the first time ever. Good job, buddy.
All right. So tell us something non-musical about you guys we should know. Listeners should know.
Every evening I passionately. That's a
Uh-oh.
weird way to start that.
It's getting interesting.
Let me get my bourbon. Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
pick up your bourbons for this one.
Emma, are you
We're not asking
listening?
you to overshare.
I passionately try to raise my rating on chess.com.
Every
and
evening.
I'm still not very good, but I love chess.
I thought you said
Play a lot of
chest.com. I was like, I was like, how do you do that? Like push-ups and measure? What's going on here? That's pretty cool.
Chess.com.
Probably not the most interesting.
So how
thing,
good
but,
are you?
Not that good, but the online chess, it's like a really fun adrenaline rush.
Okay.
I'm playing the 5-minute blitz games right now,
Oh, wow.
and it's it really does get your blood pumping.
Okay.
Fun way
Doesn't
to
it make
spend
you
the
mad
evening.
though when you're winning the game but you run out of time?
So mad.
I don't even know which way they can move. That's my biggest problem.
Oh,
You don't know how to play chess?
No, I need the one with the ghost people that tells me I can go this way
Oh,
with the
yeah.
pawn
Ghost
or this
people.
way with the pawn. You know what
Haunted chess.
I mean? Yeah, haunted chess. That's what I need. Haunted chess.
Do you play anybody in the band?
Paul, I've only beaten Paul, our bass player, one time. He's better than me.
Paul is very good at many things. One of them being winning most games. He
Most
just
games
can
ever.
see.
He's one of those dudes that
can
doesn't
just-
lose anything.
Yeah, he can just see ahead in the game, and
Good at
So
everything.
and Paul is your
Where's
husband.
Paul is my husband.
And so, does it make you mad if you all play against each other? He's always going to win, right?
No. In chess, no, because I know he's going to win, and I go in knowing he's going to win. There are other games I can't think of right now. Like we learned a new game with my sister and brother-in-law. It's called Wingspan. It's a really cool game where you like collect different species of birds. Emphasis on
Live
a really.
birds?
It's a really cool game. No,
How do you-
it's just like bird cards. It's like
Oh,
bird,
okay.
like it's not like baseball cards, but kind of.
I
Like,
got a chicken.
Yeah. No. We're talking like eastern white-tailed hawk and
Okay.
like beautiful, like unique species of birds, not chickens.
I'll trade
Not
you a chicken
poultry.
for a duck.
And I think the first time we played that, I think he won, and that made me a little. I was just like, oh, you win at every game. But most of the time at this point, I'm pretty chill
Like
about it.
whatever,
So
man.
where's Paul?
Paul's at home. He is with our 2-year-old son.
Oh, you should have brought him.
Yeah, our son as
Yeah.
well.
You're gonna
Yeah,
come?
he is a real trooper. He was with us this weekend at a music festival that a friend of ours named Stephen Galusha has been hosting. It's called Wren Nest Solstice Fest. And this
Shout out.
was year 2. Yeah, shout out. This is year 2. There's going to be a year 3 next June.
Awesome.
We do it around the solstice. Last year we did it kind of like on the solstice, but this year it was a little bit ahead of it, just on availability. So Miles was with us. That's something about me that's non-musical, is I have a 2-year-old.
Mm.
And he's great. He's a goofball. He was
Absolute
wilding this weekend. Like he at one point was like walking up on stage while people were playing on Sunday morning, and I was like kept trying to like get him to come back down, and he was like walking around eating a raw ear of corn. And yeah, it was funny.
So does
It's a
Miles have
great
any
age.
Fisher Price instruments yet?
He doesn't.
He's got real instruments, man. What's he need?
Yeah.
Fisher Price instruments?
He does.
Whenever we have band practice, Miles is like, Jesse, and he like goes for Jesse and like wants to play Jesse's drums.
Hell yeah.
And we have some drums in our basement, and he will go and like hit those. So he likes to play drums. He likes to do air guitar at this point. He really wants to play the violin. Like when I play, he like really wants to get in on that. So I let him pluck it, but not.
Have you heard of the Kawasaki program?
Yeah, he can get the Kawasaki program.
Yeah, maybe when he's like 3 or 4, we'll start it with the Kawasaki program. It's like off-brand Suzuki.
What you
There
have
goes
for
the
us, Jesse? How
Kawasaki sponsorship we were going to get.
Shoot.
about you, Jesse? What you have for us?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I have a family too, a couple boys at home. I have a wonderful wife who has allowed me to travel a whole lot in our marriage. and play music and disappear for weeks at a time and go ride around in a van with a bunch of dudes playing country music around the United States. Yeah, I don't know. I like to build things, like to work with my hands.
What's the last thing you built?
Today I worked on, this is not what I do day to day. It's more of a hobby, also a necessity because every house we buy seems to need a lot of work. We probably buy them that way on purpose, but I don't know. I'm building a media console for the company I work for that will go in our showroom to house all the hi-fi equipment and turntable and vinyl. So I was working on it today.
Nice.
So
Cool.
Awesome.
All right, so tell us about a nightmare gig or maybe something embarrassing that's happened to you on stage.
Do you have one that you?
I was thinking on the way here. Yeah. I mean, the main one that we always tell is like once we accidentally made dirty jokes when we were like being the opening band for a college like opening symposium event with the dean of the college. And it really was accidental. I just kind of like said something awkward and then tripped over my words trying to like reel it back in. And then
I think we need to replay it.
yeah.
Oh my God.
You want me to tell the story?
Yeah, you can tell the story.
So it was raining outside, and we were in between songs, and Elizabeth
It was
asked
raining
the
a
crowd,
lot. Like it wasn't
Like
just like,
Prince
oh, we're
at
gonna
the
talk about the
halftime
weather.
show,
It was
rain.
like yeah, it was like enough rain that it was an event and like the students were coming in and they were like, like drowned rats.
Yeah.
Very
So Elizabeth asked, is this still raining out there? And there was like a lot of students there.
Yeah, it was
like 500 or
yeah.
something. And some people were like, yeah, it's still raining. And then Elizabeth was like, well, welcome to your first year of college where everything's about getting wet.
That's not how I said it. I just said what I said was. Wait, now how did I say it? I said
That's how I remember it.
Yeah, it was pretty close to that. And then I like tried to cover it up real quick. Cause like the students were just like, it was just crickets. And then like one person was like, ha!
And then everybody laughed. Everybody
like
laughed.
slowly giggling. And I was like, oh my God.
It was a pretty big laugh.
Yeah.
If that hadn't happened, it would have been more awkward. Like if nobody laughed, it would have been more awkward.
I teach college students. I teach like a couple classes a year for the UK School of Music, like music history or music appreciation classes. So I have like some experience teaching college students. And if you say something that can be taken in a way like that, you just kind of have to just be like, yeah, okay, we know, like, let's roll on, And so I think I decided in that moment that that's what I was going to do. But then I realized I was like, this is a really big stage and there's a lot of people in here. But, it happens sometimes.
Not dissimilar to me just saying every night I passionately.
Exactly.
Which I'm going to be thinking about.
Yeah, you're going to be thinking about that.
Do you know when a story triggers a story? I've got one that's so funny. I don't know if it's appropriate though.
Well, this isn't live, right? You edit this, right?
Oh my God, dude! So
all we gotta do is put an E on the podcast.
So who's the guy that had the Applebee's song? Applebee's. Who's that guy?
Talking to the
Like
wrong.
this real square faced country, pretty guy.
Sorry to point a finger at you there,
Blake
like you would
Shelton?
No, it's I can't remember. Anyway, there was some contest that my band won, and we played this shit. We opened for him at Baxter's 502 or wherever it is, and it was we played acoustic. He played acoustic. I'll try to remember his name in a minute. And Doug, my bass player, who rarely talks. I mean, because I'll be like, "Hey, I got a tune. Say something," and the stage would be silent. This is back in the day. And nobody would talk and be like, this is terrible. We're playing that gig. And for some...
This better be good.
It's not that good, but it's funny to me. But it's a good crowd, man. Like, it's pretty packed. And he gets up on the mic and said, by the bass player across the road. And we all look at him like, what the fuck? And he goes, to get to all the whores. What? And then
He made that joke up on the spot.
I looked at him, I was like, what? Number one, it doesn't make sense at all. It's not even a joke, it's just a terrible sentence. And number two, you choose now to say this, and he's like, play a song. And I'm like,
Yeah, he's never getting a mic again. It's like, that's your last time
And
getting
I
a mic,
said,
buddy.
that's why bass players don't talk in a microphone.
Oh my gosh.
And we played
that's
the next.
hilarious.
It was so weird.
It's funny knowing Doug.
Yes, to get to all the whores. I was like, what? What? My parents are here.
Your parents have heard that word before.
Yeah, it's a fact.
That's relatively mild. Yeah.
Oh my
It just makes
Yeah.
no sense.
It just makes no sense.
I feel like saying things into a microphone amplifies whatever. It just, I mean, literally amplifies them. But then it's like, if I'd said that joke in passing, I think I wouldn't have like thought back in my mind, like, wait, what did I just say? And so then the moment where I was like, what did I just say? And then that's where
It's like when
the
you hear
pause
it
creates
back.
the joke.
Oh, that's so funny. So funny.
Hey, your bass player was going for it. Stage banter is hard.
That's
And
right.
sometimes you just got to start throwing spaghetti at the wall and see
Yeah.
what sticks.
I wonder if he was like
That's
planning that one for a while.
Yeah,
like
here's the-
waiting.
Here's the problem. He didn't throw like spaghetti at the wall. He threw the box of spaghetti at the wall, hoping that something would happen. But it was still closed. He didn't even pull it out of the package to put it in the water. He just
Jesse, while you were touring the U.S., did you ever play, behind chicken wire and get bottles thrown at you or anything?
I don't think I ever had anything thrown at
this
me.
is not 74, man.
Hey, I've heard a story of people getting stuff thrown at them within the last 2 years.
I mean, we
Really?
well,
Yeah.
I just think the chicken wire. I mean, I understand getting stuff thrown at you, but chicken wire is way out.
I don't know,
we did
man.
nearly get in some scuffles, though. I mean, the guy that I played with, like I'm pretty sure he's told me a story. His dad was a country music bass player, and I'm fairly certain they played some shows kind of like that. Like, yeah, I mean, we nearly got in a scuffle, and totally drawing a blank. East Tennessee NASCAR, not Talladega, but
Bristol. Got you.
We played this bar, and it was terrible, and they didn't want to pay us like what they promised us because we were like a few minutes late. We didn't know we had to set up our own sound gear.
Oh, Lord.
It was the most awful, like half the channels worked on the board. Nobody knew where anything was. And like, it was just an awful, awful gig. And that almost ended poorly, but we calmed ourselves down, and it was one of those situations where like the guy big, huge dude came over, and one, like our lead guitar player stood up, and he's got a reputation for getting in fist fights. I mean, you don't mess with him. He's a Louisiana boy that's just rough. And he stood up, and we all stood up with him. And it was just like, something like somebody flipped a switch, and like everybody was just like got swole real quick on everybody. And it's like, this is going to be bad. Like, we got calmed down and got out of there.
Did it go down?
No, we got to calm down, and it was fine. But I mean, I've played a stage where they swept, goat poop off the stage before I got up there and played. Like it was basically a porch on somebody's house. Nothing too crazy. We got a little wild, but nobody threw anything at us as far as we remember.
But who's the last local independent artist you listened to that our listeners need to go check out?
I would say Townsville Turner. They're an indie rock band in Lexington, Kentucky. I've really been jamming on them. Came out with an EP last year that's super good. I think it might be a full length. And they just played the Rennes Solstice Fest. Yeah, I love their whole vibe. Very kind of like early 2000s indie rock with a little bit of like post rock elements.
Really good.
Yeah.
That's who I was thinking too. But
Yeah.
I've also been listening to a lot of Rachel Bayman. She's out of Nashville. She's not from Kentucky. I don't know if that counts, but I can't stop. I can't stop listening to her. And I met her. I met her at a festival that we played last month called Sleepin' in the Woods Festival. It was hosted by Nicholas Jamerson and at Hidden Ridge Campground. And it was a wonderful festival. I mean, it was
Awesome.
really, so
We had some
artist
friends there.
focused. Yeah, so artist focused and just like so nice, and everybody was so kind, and it was like everybody was great. Miles was with us there, my son, and everybody was great with him. And Rachel and her bassist, she plays in a duo with the bassist. They showed up like as we were rehearsing, and she like got out of her van and was just like, and I was like, I like waved and smiled, and I was like, do I know her? And then later, like we played our set, and then I went backstage and she was there, and she's like, oh, I loved your set. I heard you, and I was like, oh, okay. I put the pieces together who she was, and we met. And then I listened to her set. And then when she was finished, myself and Don Rogers, a fiddle player, songwriter in Kentucky, we were both backstage, and she came out after her set, and I was like, we're here to fangirl a bit. So she plays fiddle and guitar, and I think she plays a 5-string fiddle, so it gets some viola, some lower notes too. And yeah, we just like really just like loved each other's music and traded records, and it was really cool to meet somebody else who's like playing fiddle in creative ways. So yeah, her newest album is called Combination of Sorrows, and it's phenomenal. And Don Rogers also has really great music. He's written a song for the Local Honeys, he's written it and he performs it, but the Local Honeys play it more, I think. And it's called I'm a Kentuckian. It's a really good song if you've never heard it before.
So, with being in the scene and doing the festivals and as a female musician, have you been able to? Is there a community of female artists that really kind of take care of each other? When we talk a lot about Louisville and Kentucky and regional musicians that really do support each other, take care of each other, try to prop each other up instead of tear each other down. It seems like there's a lot of support, but inside of that network, which seems really, really supportive and good, is part of that all these festivals and things like that? Is that helping build that? And have you taken any notice to that?
I think it can be hard at a festival, honestly, because there's so much going on. Like sometimes it's a good place to kind of hang, but then other times for me, it happens like, sending messages after the show, or
you
like
also have a 2-year-old.
Yeah,
right,
yeah. Instagram, just like, yeah, kind of supporting each other in any way that we can when it's hard, when you're on the go all the time. So
and your main focus of all of you all is here building this instead of that. So
I do have like Maggie Noel, who's in Magnolia Boulevard. She and
phenomenal. We've been trying to get them too.
Yeah, they're
really,
amazing.
Really good. They just had a new record or EP or something coming out too.
Yeah. I think that there is support. I think that like a lot of times, we're just kind of out there. One of the boys, I should say, it's not always like, I honestly didn't even think about like that. Rachel and I kind of gravitated towards each other because we're both women. I was like, oh, we both play violin. Like that was my first thought. I think a lot of times we're just kind of out there doing our thing. But it is special. Like B. Taylor is another. She's not from Kentucky, but she's been playing around Kentucky a lot. And she asked me to come and sit in on one of her songs back in April or something. And we were like putting on our makeup together in the green room. And I was like, oh, this is nice. Like, I don't do this a lot. This is nice.
There's just, I take note because there are so many dominant female musicians that especially, fiddle players and bass players like the Katie Diddits and the Ellie Ruths and
Ellie Ruth. We love Ellie Ruth.
She's phenomenal.
There are just so many, many, many good ones in the area.
We all have each other's numbers.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, there's so many shows and stuff that you all could do together to really showcase.
Yeah.
it seems like it'd be a really supportive community.
Yeah, somebody should. That's a great idea. Somebody should promote a show like
there's
that with all the
I'm just
female string
thinking
players.
Ladies' night at the Monarch with
Monarch,
nothing
yeah, I
but
was gonna say
strings. It would
Monarch.
be
Yeah,
amazing.
that would be really
It would
cool.
Be
Cool.
It'd be
Yep.
I'm sure,
crazy
like
good.
Blakely, Berger,
Yeah, I was
Ellie,
thinking Blakely.
Ruth.
Can I think of the Anna
Maggie
Blanton?
Lander.
Anna Blanton.
Yeah.
I know she's
Mhm.
around town.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a ton of really, really good players.
Ella Webster's playing with Cole Chaney right now.
Okay, yeah,
She's
Coach Amy's going
she's
crazy.
younger than me. She's young. She like just graduated college, but she's killer.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
Yeah, that's yeah.
We just added
Somebody
a fourth
put
question.
it together.
Luke Trimble was on here a while back. He said, "You guys need to ask what are people's favorite bourbon." We're like, "Yeah, you're right." So, what's your favorite bourbon? Do you have one?
Wild Turkey was mine.
Ooh. Serious.
101.
Buffalo Trace. Yeah. Top shelf.
I'm
Love it.
with her. Buffalo
Buffalo
Trace.
Trace.
It used to
Yeah.
be regular
Can't go
shelf.
wrong.
Now it's like, can you find it shelf?
Yeah.
And when you do, it's $35. Like, this
Actually,
is some
I
bullshit.
could not find it anywhere in Kentucky or like around Lexington. And then I took a trip to visit some friends in Vancouver, Canada, and it was just like,
Shut your. Are you serious?
just like rows of it. I was like,
Like,
what?
you know, I live 20 minutes from where this is made, and I can't find it. You gotta go to
Same
Canada.
thing happens when I go visit my son in North Dakota. Like, you can never find Eagle Rare here. You go to North Dakota and they have 4 or 5 bottles of Rare just sitting on the
Crazy
shelf.
how that works.
It is. They don't know what they're getting up there. It's a problem. Knob
This is
Creek,
Knob Creek.
9 year. It's good stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
it's
Knob Creek.
excellent.
I think this is what my at
Then
least I've seen it at her house.
the
Yep.
Knob
Shout out
Creek.
Maria.
Shout out Maria. What's up?
Let's hear another tune.
No, we've already heard about it. All right, so what's this one again?
Guardrail.
Yeah, this one is called
Guardrail.
Guardrails.
I would like to shout out. I have seen a lot of creative drum muting and apparatus. I've never
Seen a
in-
microphone.
I'm 42 and I've been playing since I was like 13. I've never seen anyone use a microphone cover
On the beater.
on the beater, and it's perfect. Like I've just never.
That's
Like,
what that's amazing.
I have
Let me
in the
tell you
practice
something,
space, it's a
Jesse.
sock.
Not only
Like,
does it,
Oh, we'll get you a
Jesse,
windscreen.
not only does it
bud.
Windscreen
mute,
is like
but
the
it
way to
also
go.
deepens the tone.
Yeah,
I mean,
big fat snare drum. Heads up, you've got a new product that you need to make. It's the
no, that's ours. We're making that.
windscreen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we already have
you
patent
guys
on
can
it.
We got
license
patent.
it. You can license it and get your credit.
I'm glad you told us we should do that.
Yeah.
It's here on the podcast.
There
I'm going to
you
edit
go.
this one tonight.
Done.
So it's,
Heard it here first ever,
Diversify.
hey,
ever
they
beater
could pay for
cover.
our podcast.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe we'll break even if we make a drumhead beater screen.
You have to do to stay.
Hey, here's the thing. We're going to sell it for $30 and then eventually somebody go, wait, this is a microphone.
Out past the guardrails, I thought I saw something too real to be.
To our listeners that want to follow you guys a little close, more.
Hey, start that again. I'll edit that.
Take 2. Our listeners want to follow you guys a little more closely. Where can they find you?
Yeah,
Go
we're on all the
find it.
streamings. I don't know. I've never calculated it. I've never sat and listened to our whole catalog.
Well, somebody needs
There's a
to
lot of
go
great
listen
stuff
to
there.
it. That's
Yeah.
I mean, we're
I can tell you.
seriously. It's been a pleasure for me tonight.
Absolutely.
It's been
Appreciate
awesome.
you guys coming to visit with us, and don't put your instrument away, Gideon. You're going to close out with one.
Oh yeah. We got to tell us what we're playing here. Though.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, all right.
Oh, yeah. Okay. This song is called Dandelions. And what's it about, Gideon?
I wrote this song about a memory I have of growing up with my mom. She's a health nut, and she would ask me to literally go out to the yard and pick dandelions for her to put on her salad.
That's
because
my
she would
dad.
eat them.
Oh my gosh.
He's
My dad
dandelions.
does the same thing.
He's
Oh, yeah.
dandelions
Yeah, he would like
still
make
now?
a salad out of the yard and just
Stay out of our yard. We have
get
a
all the
spree.
edible stuff.
That's always the worry when you're eating them in a neighborhood or something.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
He's like,
Oh my God.
put salad dressing on it, man. And anything tastes like salad dressing.
I saw this book one time.
Sure.
I still want this book. I haven't been able to find it since. I saw it one time and I didn't buy it for whatever reason. But it was called 50 Edible Plants You Can Find in Every Neighborhood.
I can't believe
Yeah,
you're still. What,
that's
you going to
wonderful.
bookstores to look for it? Why don't you Google it?
I tried, man.
Nah, we're gonna find it
I'm not
tonight.
kidding.
Yeah, you are. You're like, I've been looking for it in the mom and pop
Get
shop.
get the picture of this app on your phone, and you can take a picture of a plant. It'll tell you if it's edible or not.
It's the
Tell you
best.
what it is.
That's
Oh, yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Just go around the yard eating shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, just pick.
No, don't eat
Look,
shit.
violets,
Identify shit too. Don't
you can
eat
eat
that.
violets,
Somehow-
wood sorrel, dandelions,
Yeah.
all that.
Somehow I feel like I would also want to get that information from a book. Because if it was published, then you know it's like,
Verified.
it's verified. If it was on the internet, you can't trust what's on the internet. If I
pretty
learned
true.
anything,
People need to learn that.
In
That's great
school.
advice.
That's great advice.
if I learned anything in school, it's you can't trust it.
What are you
Trust it if
playing
it's on
there,
the internet.
Elizabeth?
This is a Violetti Griffin. I saw somebody playing this at a music festival. It was another like artist centric festival in New York City called Underwater Sunshine Festival. And I saw somebody playing this, and I said, I have to try that out. And I tried it out, and I said, I have to get one. It's a 12-string. It's in unison rather than octaves, and it's as if it's started at the 10th fret. So I guess it's like a high-strung 12-string.
Interesting.
Guitar.
Tune like your
Very
guitar.
interesting.
It's tuned like a guitar. Yeah, it's the same standard. Yeah, or you can take it into open tunings, which
Yeah.
sounds really cool too.
Wild.
Yeah, it's got a really nice, like bright, kind of mandolin-y sound, but also guitar. And if you want to take a 12-string around, or if you're an average-sized lady, it's a really like manageable size of a 12
Compact
string.
and nice. Sweet.
All right, let's hear Dandelions.
Like those old walls we never finished painting.
Right. Yeah. Thanks again.
Thank you all.
Enjoyed it.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.